said, take a look at what happened.
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation.
Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh my goodness.
The road to the November 5 presidential election has been anything but predictable. One contender survived an assassination attempt. Another contender dropped out of the race. And everything seems to be going in the way of the new entrant. Vice President Kamala Harris has been able to unite Democrats, unleash a glitzy campaign, and cut down Donald Trump's lead in the last few weeks. But Team Trump is determined to cut short this so-called Harris honeymoon.
If she ever got in, she will go back to all of those horrible original thoughts that she had. She'll appoint hardcore Marxists to the Supreme Court to shred our Constitution and all of our religious liberty. She will do that absolutely. She will try as hard as she can to add as many justices as possible to the U.S. Supreme Court. We don't want that to happen, do we?
Trump is putting the spotlight on Kamala Harris's unsuccessful campaign for the 2020 Democratic presidential nomination. In an effort to align with Democratic primary voters, she leaned heavily to the left. She endorsed policies such as scrapping private health insurance, reforming policing, decriminalizing undocumented entry, and supporting the Green New Deal. Now, these positions are coming back to haunt her. Trump released a video titled Meet San Francisco Radical Kamala Harris that includes many of the policies she backed during that time.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across borders.
She was a bum 3 weeks ago. She was a bum. A failed vice president in a failed administration with millions of people crossing, and she was the border czar.
Before he ended his re-election bid, polls showed that Joe Biden's campaign has been floundering for months. Whether it was the state of the economy, US's support for Israel over the ongoing war in Gaza, and his unpopular immigration policies. Being Biden's number 2, Harris will be tied to the current administration's record. For example, Trump and other Republicans are already trying to hang the immigration issue around her neck by calling her a border czar.
Kamala Harris's deadly destruction of America's borders is completely and totally disqualifying for her to be president. You can't have a person like this as president. No person who deliberately releases these kinds of savage criminals to prey on our youth and our people, not just youth. Elderly people, too, are tremendous targets, should ever be trusted with power. Again, she has no clue. She has no clue. She's evil.
Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Kamala Harris has used her background as a prosecutor and California Attorney General to criticize Trump. But the former president's campaign is accusing her of being too tough on black men for drug crimes and citing instances where Harris either chose not to prosecute or paroled offenders who committed crimes all over again.
You've seen what's happened to San Francisco. It was the best city maybe in our entire country 15 years ago, and now it's barely livable. That's what she's the one that started. She was an original defunder. She was a defunder of the police.
The Trump campaign is arguing that Harris can't escape her past and has promised that voters will soon see her as Biden's partner and co-pilot with a dangerously liberal record. As the Harris campaign works on defining who she is as a candidate or what she stands for, will her honeymoon period end in heartbreak for Democrats?